The sea has always whispered. Its voice drifts through waves, soft and endless. Sailors once leaned close, believing God spoke. They heard promises, warnings, dreams half-formed. In every tide, a secret seemed hidden. Among those secrets lives the name Poseidon, ruler of waters, guardian of the deep. His trident shines like lightning beneath waves. But not all his kingdom is known. Beneath the shimmer lies something forgotten, a silence darker than the ocean's floor. Legends call it the forgotten depths. Stories drift like shadows across the current. They speak of mysteries older than time, not of monsters or battles or storms, but of memory, silence, and eternity. Today, we follow that call together. We step beyond foam into endless blue. We listen for the voice beneath tides. This is not a tale of fear. It is a story of wonder and myth. The sea invites you to remember. Close your eyes, hear its slow heartbeat. Each wave is a page of a story, and every story leads us deeper still. Welcome to Poseidon and the forgotten depths. The ocean begins with a breath, a hush, a rhythm, a voice beneath the wind. Waves rise and fall like the chest of a giant. Each crest glitters, each trough hides its silence. Long ago, sailors believed the sea was alive. They said it carried whispers from gods unseen. At night, the water spoke louder than dreams. It hummed through wood, through sails, through hearts. Some thought it warned them of storms to come. Others swore it carried promises of safe return. But all agreed, the ocean held secrets untold, secrets too deep for human ears to capture. Among those whispers was a name repeated often: Poseidon, ruler of the vast, eternal waters. He was not only a god of storms, he was also a keeper of memory. The sea itself became his language and song. Each tide rose like a verse of his hymn. Each current curved like a line of his script. And in this music, whispers became stories. Some gentle, some heavy, some almost forgotten. Imagine standing at a lonely shore at dusk. The horizon fades into a silver line of quiet. Waves touch your feet, cool, steady, eternal. The air carries a sound older than time, not words, but shapes of meaning and wonder. That was how sailors felt on endless voyages. Alone on dark waters, yet never truly alone. They leaned against the rails, listening for voices. Some heard laughter that danced across the tide. Others heard sorrow that lingered like mist. Yet always, Poseidon's presence was near. A watchful eye beneath the rolling swells. A strength steady as stone, yet softer than rain. And in the heart of the ocean, a secret. A place beyond light, beyond human knowing. The forgotten depths, spoken of only in whispers. It was said that the sea itself remembered. Every tear, every song, every lost name, all sank and settled in the deep. And from there, Poseidon listened and guarded. He became both voice and silence at once. The whisper of the sea is more than sound. It is memory flowing in endless circles. It is the hush of tides against moonlight. It is the call to those who dare listen. Today, as we drift into this story together, we follow the same whispers that guided them. We lean into the current, hear the hymn, a hymn not of storms, but of wonder, a hymn that belongs to Poseidon's eternal sea. And with each wave, the journey begins again. The whisper of the sea calls us deeper. It calls us closer to the forgotten depths. Beneath the rolling waves lies a kingdom unseen, a realm not built of stone but of coral and light. Here stands the palace of Poseidon, vast and eternal. Its walls shimmer with living shells and glowing pearls. Columns rise like kelp, swaying gently in the current. The floor is carpeted with sand soft as moonlight. Above, Fish swim in endless patterns, like stars drifting. Every corner hums with the music of the sea. This is not a fortress of power, but of harmony. Poseidon rules here not as a tyrant, but as guardian. His trident rests beside his throne, gleaming like lightning. It is not only a weapon, but a symbol of balance. Each prong speaks of sky, sea, and the hidden depths. Together they form the bridge between worlds unseen. In his halls, the waters whisper with memory. Voices of lost sailors drift through like fading echoes. Yet here they are welcomed, not feared. For Poseidon does not scorn the mortal world. He watches with patience, like the tide itself. At times, he sends calm to the weary, a gentle current guiding them back to shore. At other times, he tests their courage with storms, not to harm, but to remind them of respect. The sea is vast, and so is its keeper. He knows joy, sorrow, silence, and song. He knows the laughter of dolphins, sharp and playful. He knows the slow hymn of whales, deep and eternal. These voices fill his palace like sacred choirs. Every creature belongs, from the smallest shell to Leviathan. All are threads in the fabric of his domain. The palace glows not with fire, but with life. Jellyfish lanterns drift in slow, graceful arcs. Coral towers gleam with colors never seen on land. Even silence here feels like music unspoken. Imagine standing in that hall, looking upon him. His hair flows like dark tides, endless and strong. His eyes mirror the horizon, fierce yet kind. He holds the sea in his hands like a promise to guard, to guide, to remember. To sailors, he is both fear and comfort. To creatures, he is both father and king. But to the ocean itself, he is its heart. For without him, the waters would lose their song. His trident hums softly, alive with power. It connects the shimmering surface to the silent abyss. Through it, Poseidon hears the voice of the deep. He hears stories long buried in sand and salt. Some are of creation, when seas first awoke. Others are of loss, when ships sank into dark. All are kept safe within his vast memory. The palace is more than stone, more than coral. It is a sanctuary where the ocean breathes. It is the center of all forgotten tides. And from this throne, Poseidon watches the world. He waits for those who listen to the waves. He waits for hearts that still believe in wonder. For in the palace of Poseidon, nothing is truly lost. Every whisper becomes part of the endless sea. And every soul is carried home in silence. Far below the palace lies a place untouched by light. A trench carved deeper than mountains are tall. Its edges fall away into silence eternal. No pearl, no coral, no lantern dares to glow. Here begins the realm called the Forgotten Depths. Sailors whispered of it, but never with certainty. They said it was older than Poseidon himself. A place where the sea remembers its birth. The water there is heavy, thick with time. Each drop feels like the weight of centuries. To drift near is to feel history press close. Not history written, but history felt in silence. Legends claimed the depths were a library unseen, not of books, but of memory itself. Every sound that ever touched the ocean lingers. Every voice once lost to waves finds rest there. Songs of sailors, cries of joy, final prayers. They settle into the silence, never erased. Even Poseidon approaches with reverence and care. His trident glows dimly, muted by the dark. Here he listens, not commands, for this place rules. The forgotten depths bow to no power but time. Some say shapes move in that endless shadow, not monsters, but guardians of memory itself. Their eyes glimmer like stars beneath dark water. They keep the silence whole, unbroken, eternal. To those who drift too close, A hush falls. Not danger, but awe. A quiet too vast. Imagine floating in water so still, so endless. No sound of waves, no echo of life. Only your heartbeat, slow and uncertain. It feels like entering the first moment of creation, as if the sea itself has paused to remember. Here, currents slow to a crawl, heavy with age. Sand drifts like dust in a forgotten cathedral. The walls of the trench rise higher than thought, yet vanish into blackness no eye can pierce. This place is both grave and cradle at once. Grave to the countless moments lost to time, cradle to the memory of all beginnings. Poseidon himself honors its silence with bowed head. He knows his throne is strong, yet not eternal. But the depths, they remain beyond gods and mortals. The forgotten depths are not to be feared. They are to be remembered as the sea remembers. A place where every whisper finds a home. A place where eternity holds its breath. And though no sailor truly sees its heart, they dream of it in restless sleep at sea. A dream of silence too deep to break. A dream of shadows that guard what was lost. In those dreams, Poseidon is always near, standing not as ruler, but as listener. He too hears the hush of ages kept. And in his stillness, the ocean bows with him. For even the god of seas must yield, not to storm, not to sky, but to silence. The silence of the forgotten depths, forever watching. They say the depths are never empty. Though no sunlight falls, presence lingers in the dark. Shapes drift there, vast and slow, like living shadows. They are not beasts of terror, but guardians eternal. The ancients called them the Watchers of Silence. Their bodies are woven from currents and starlight. Their eyes glow faintly, like lanterns lost at sea. They do not hunt, they do not roar or strike. They wait, watching, patient as the tide itself. To look into their gaze is to feel memory, not your own, but memory of oceans unending. They know when the first wave kissed the shore. They know when mountains sank into salt forever. They carry those secrets without word, without end. Each motion of their fins stirs forgotten stories. Each shadow they cast holds centuries of silence. Sailors claim they sometimes rose near the surface, a faint glow beneath black waves, silent and slow. Those who saw never spoke with fear, but awe. For the watchers never brought harm, only wonder. Their glow was seen as blessing from the deep, a sign that Poseidon's eye still guarded the seas. Some believed they carried messages to the god, whispers too heavy for tides to bear alone. They would descend again, vanishing into endless night. Carrying prayers, carrying voices into the forgotten depths. Imagine drifting in a small boat at midnight. The ocean calm, stars scattered like sparks of fire. Then a light beneath the water, soft and moving. It glides below you, vast, silent, beyond measure. Your heart slows, your breath stills in reverence. You do not reach for oar or rope. You simply watch, knowing you are seen. And in that moment, you are part of memory. The watchers do not speak in human tongue. Their language is stillness, patience, eternal presence. Even Poseidon treats them with solemn respect. He does not command, he listens when they move. For they belong not to his throne, but to silence. They remind him the ocean is older than kings, older than gods, older than tridents or storms. They are the guardians of what must not be lost. The first rain that filled the first river, the cry of the first gull above the waves, the laughter of children playing on unknown shores, all carried by the watchers into endless dark. Their lantern eyes shine like stars beneath water, and sailors call them guides of the wandering, guides who lead lost souls back to calm, guides who protect the boundaries of memory. So when the sea is still and hushed, when night falls heavy and waves barely stir, perhaps a shadow moves beneath your boat unseen. Perhaps a light glimmers far under your gaze. Do not fear, for it is not a monster. It is a watcher, ancient, patient, eternal, and it carries with it all the voices of the deep. The guardians of silence remain forever below, keeping safe the mysteries of Poseidon's sea. There is a current that drifts from the depths unseen. It moves slowly, weaving through the heart of the sea. Not cold, not harsh, but carrying a gentle rhythm. Sailors once called it the song of the current. They believed it was the ocean's breath-turned melody, each note carried through the waves like distant bells. Some nights, the current sang loud enough to hear, not with ears, but with hearts open to wonder. Its music told stories older than human memory. Stories of the sea's first stirring beneath the sky, of the moon's first reflection on restless waters, of gods shaping waves with hands of thunder. Poseidon himself listens when the current sings. He closes his eyes and hears creation anew. Each rise and fall reminds him of beginnings, a hymn written not in words, but in tides. The dolphins leap when the melody passes near. Whales join with songs deep enough to shake stone. Even the smallest fish pause, swaying with its rhythm. The ocean becomes a choir, endless and alive. Imagine floating in that current under the stars. Your boat sways softly, as if cradled by song. No storm, no fear, only the hush of melody. It carries you, not away, but inward. Inward to memory, inward to wonder itself. The ancients said the current could heal the weary. Sailors lost at sea found calm when it passed. Their hearts slowed, their fear lifted like fog. They swore they heard voices singing alongside them. Voices of ancestors, voices of friends long gone, all woven into one endless stream of sound. The current does not belong to time or place. It drifts between worlds, touching both surface and deep. It is a bridge, a song, a prayer unending. Even Poseidon cannot change its course or silence. He honors it, for it is older than him. It reminds even the god that seas are sacred, that every wave carries more than salt and foam. It carries the memory of creation itself. Sometimes the current rises near the shore. Children laugh, feeling its warmth on their feet. They do not know it is older than mountains, yet they feel joy as if welcomed by the sea. The song of the current belongs to all, to gods, to mortals, to creatures unseen. It hums beneath storms, beneath silence, beneath time. And those who listen may hear their own story, hidden in its melody, carried with the tide. For the current holds not just the past, it holds the dreams of what may yet come. Every note is a promise unbroken by ages. Every pause is a reminder of eternity's hush. So if you stand by the sea and listen, and the water seems to move with rhythm unseen, know that the current is near, still singing. Know that you too are part of its song. The song of the current flows on forever. Beneath the calm of the current lies another secret. It is not a song nor a storm, but a silence so deep that even whales grow quiet. It waits in the folds of the ocean floor, a vast plain untouched by sunlight or moonlight. The ancients called it the chamber of stillness, not because it holds emptiness, but memory itself. Every drop of water carries echoes into it. Every wave, every whisper, every prayer once spoken. They sink here, stored in layers of quiet. The chamber is a library of the sea, not written with ink, but with sound and breath. Poseidon visits this place when solitude calls him. He lowers his trident and the waters part. No fish follow, no current stirs the sand. The silence receives him as an old companion. Here, gods feel the weight of eternity, not in noise, but in absence of all things. Poseidon listens to silence as mortals to music. He hears forgotten moments rise from the dark. A mother's lullaby sung by a fire long gone. The laughter of children lost to the waves. The cries of sailors calling the gods by name. Each sound preserved like shells on the ocean floor. Some are heavy with grief, some light as foam. All are equal in the chamber of stillness. For silence does not judge, it only remembers. Imagine standing there with no horizon to see. Only darkness, endless and soft like velvet water. Your heart beats, and even that feels too loud. You try to speak, but your voice disappears. The chamber swallows it, storing it forever. Not lost, but placed among countless other voices. This is why Poseidon respects the stillness. It holds the truths even gods cannot erase. He often kneels there, trident pressed to stone. In silence, he becomes smaller than the sea, smaller than the waves he commands with ease. For here, he too is only a voice remembered. The chamber reminds him that divinity is fleeting, that even gods are part of a greater tide. The silence does not bow, nor does it serve. It simply endures, timeless and untouchable. Sailors feared drifting into its reach unprepared. They told tales of ships stilled in its grasp, not broken, not drowned, simply hushed into silence. Men who returned spoke softly for the rest of life, as if the chamber still clung to their words. But others called it a blessing, not a curse. To be heard, to be remembered by the sea, to know that no voice ever truly vanishes. Perhaps that is what comforted Poseidon most, that the ocean does not forget, only holds. The chamber is not dark with sorrow, but sacred. It is the heart of memory, beating in silence. And those who enter may hear their soul reflected, not in noise, but in the hush of eternity. The chamber waits, always listening, always keeping. A stillness deeper than fear, gentler than time. There is a place where silence ends and vision begins, not above the waves, but deep beneath them. Here lies a forest unlike any known to land, a forest of coral rising like trees of glass. Their branches glow faintly with colors unseen. Crimson, sapphire, and gold shimmer in the dark. The ancients called it the Garden of Echoes, not because it grows, but because it remembers. Each coral holds a memory of the sea. When touched, it hums with voices long gone. A whisper, a laugh, a forgotten prayer, all captured in crystal veins that weave together. Poseidon walks through this garden with reverence. He runs his hand across coral branches. Each one sings to him softly, like a child. The garden is not still, it breathes. Tiny fish dart like sparks through its colors. Sea turtles glide slow as guardians of the grove. Light filters here, but not from the sun. It comes from the corals themselves, glowing eternal. Imagine stepping into this underwater forest. The silence fades, replaced by gentle music. Each step brings new voices to your ears. Some are ancient, deep and resonant as thunder. Others are tender, fleeting as morning mist. All are beautiful, none are forgotten. The Garden of Echoes does not judge or divide. It offers memory as gift to those who listen. Sailors who dreamed of this place wrote poems. They said the coral grew from prayers unanswered, every branch a plea, every glow a hope. And in that glow, sorrow turned into beauty. Perhaps that is why Poseidon visits so often. He listens not as a god, but as kin. For even the sea longs to remember joy. And even gods need to touch memory made light. In the garden, time feels slower, almost still. Moments stretch like waves upon a quiet shore. The voices do not fade, they circle and return. Each choral is part of a vast choir eternal. The sound is not overwhelming, but tender. It cradles you, as if reminding you of home. Poseidon once placed his trident in the sand here, and the garden bloomed brighter than ever before, as if the sea itself blessed this sacred grove. Some say the trident's touch planted new voices, the voices of gods, hidden but eternal. Others believe the garden simply welcomed him, for even rulers are only guests in its beauty. The Garden of Echoes has no end. Its choral stretches farther than the eye can see, winding through caverns, archways, and hidden cliffs. Each corner reveals another light, another song. Imagine drifting through it without fear or need, your hand brushing coral, your heart listening. You would not wish to leave such a place, for here the sea shares its gentlest truth, that nothing is truly lost if it is remembered. And memory, when held in beauty, is eternal. So the garden remains, awaiting in quiet glow. A forest not of wood, but of voices made light. It sings to those who dare to wander deep. And in its song, the ocean remembers itself. There is a path that winds beyond the coral forests. It leads to a canyon carved deeper than mountains. The walls rise like dark towers of stone and shadow. This place is known as the Abyssal Gate, not a door of wood or iron, but of water. A threshold where currents shift and vanish. Those who cross it enter another silence, not empty, but filled with endless waiting. The Abyssal Gate is older than Poseidon himself. It was here before the seas had names. Some say it is the mouth of the earth. Others say it is the beginning of all seas. Its currents move not forward, but inward, pulling thoughts as much as bodies toward mystery. Poseidon often stands before the gate in stillness. His trident reflects faint light against dark waters. He does not enter, but he listens. For the gate hums with a low, endless note, a sound deeper than thunder, softer than breath. It is not a warning nor a welcome. It simply waits, patient as eternity itself. Imagine standing before this watery threshold. The sea around you holds its breath. Fish do not swim here, nor do whales sing. Even the smallest particles drift slower in its reach. It feels as though time bends near the gate, stretching and folding like waves against stone. Some sailors claim to glimpse visions near it, cities of glass beneath oceans gleaming in light. Figures walking as if the sea were air. Others said they heard their own voices echoing, calling them from within the abyssal dark. But no mortal has ever crossed and returned. For the gate is not meant for flesh and bone. It belongs to gods, to memories, to beginnings, and perhaps to endings, too deep to name. Poseidon respects the gate as he respects the sea. He knows power is not always his to command. Even he, ruler of tides, will not step through, not out of fear, but out of reverence. The gate reminds him that mysteries must remain, that even gods cannot hold all truths. Yet he visits, as if drawn by its silence. Perhaps he seeks answers, perhaps only presence. For to stand before the unknown is sacred. It humbles even the greatest, softens their pride. Imagine the god of seas kneeling in the deep, his trident lowered, his gaze steady on shadow. The gate whispers, not with words, but with weight. A weight that presses not the body, but the soul. The ancients believed the gate was a promise, that one day, when the sea itself tires, it will open, and all waters will return, not to an end, but to a beginning. Back to the silence before waves were born, back to the first breath of the world. Until then, it waits, watching with unseen eyes. The Abyssal Gate holds its place, timeless, a reminder that mystery is part of wonder, and that not all depths are meant to be known, Some are meant only to be honored. And so the gate remains, dark and eternal. Far beyond the Abyssal Gate, the sea softens again. Here lies a realm unknown to mortal eyes. It is called the Vale of Dreams by the ancients, a place where water and thought flow as one. The veil shimmers like silk stretched across the deep. It moves with colors that shift like living fire, not flame of heat, but flame of memory. Each flicker shows visions from another time, a child laughing on a distant shore, a city rising from waves long vanished, a god walking alone beneath the first stars. The veil carries these dreams, gently, without judgment. Poseidon often drifts here when burden weighs heavy. He lets the visions wash across his mind, not as ruler, but as wanderer of memory. For the veil does not show power or conquest. It shows tenderness, beginnings, and forgotten joys. The dolphins play here as if chasing light. Whales move slowly, as if lulled by visions. Even the smallest shrimp glow within its colors. Everything becomes part of the dreamlike dance. Imagine standing within this flowing curtain of wonder. Every movement reveals a story, not your own. Every shimmer whispers of a world beyond reach. You cannot hold it, but you can feel it. Some sailors claimed they touched the veil in storms, when lightning cracked and the sea turned glass. For a moment, they swore they saw forgotten faces, eyes filled with peace, hands reaching in silence. When the storm ended, the vision was gone, but the memory remained, etched forever in them. The veil does not speak, yet it teaches. It reminds mortals of the fragile beauty of time, that even fleeting joy is worth remembering, that even sorrow can glow softly when recalled. Poseidon honors this realm with deep humility. He does not command it, nor reshape its tide. He only listens, watching the visions drift by. Some remind him of his own youth as god, when seas were smaller and sky more near. Others remind him of mortals he once blessed. The fishermen, the sailors, the dreamers of shores. Each dream passes like foam across his hand, light to touch, but eternal in meaning. The Vale of Dreams belongs to no one, not to gods, not to kings, not to seas. It belongs to memory itself, free and wandering. Perhaps that is why it feels so gentle, because it is not bound, only flowing. The ancients believed the veil was a gift, a reminder that no dream truly dies. It drifts here, glowing, waiting to be remembered. And when a soul listens with open heart, the veil gives back the dream it holds, not forever, just enough to bring peace. So the veil remains, endless and glowing, a place where Poseidon comes not as ruler, but as seeker of wonder, as listener of time. And in its shimmer, the ocean remembers hope. At the farthest reaches of the ocean lies silence. It is not empty, yet it feels like the edge of all things. Here the currents slow, and the waters grow clear. The ancients called it the Chamber of Echoes. For every sound here lingers longer than expected. A whisper becomes a song that drifts for hours. A sigh becomes a current of memory in motion. Poseidon steps into this chamber with reverence. He knows this is no place for command or thunder. Here, the sea itself speaks in its oldest voice. The walls are not stone, but layers of light. Each ripple bends into a curve of glowing mist. The chamber breathes like a living heart of water. When Poseidon listens, he hears echoes of creation. The first waves striking against the first shore. The call of winds when sky and sea first met. The laughter of gods when oceans were still young. Even the cries of mortals who once prayed for safety. Every sound is held, replayed, and never forgotten. It is said this chamber keeps the ocean's memory, not in words, but in vibrations of eternal resonance. Poseidon kneels here, letting the echoes move through him. Some speak of sorrow, of storms that drowned hope. Others speak of joy, of journeys that found land. All are held equally, without judgment or weight. This is not a place of fear, but of truth. For truth is neither cruel nor kind, it simply is. When he closes his eyes, Poseidon hears his own voice, not as God, but as a being who once longed for connection, for meaning, for balance in tide. The chamber reflects this longing back to him. It is gentle but unshakable, like a tide eternal. No god can silence what the sea remembers. No mortal can erase what the ocean has held. The Chamber of Echoes is proof of continuity. Every drop, every cry, every laugh becomes part of it. And so, Poseidon understands his role more deeply. Not master of oceans, but guardian of memory. Not keeper of power, but listener of truth. For the sea is not only vast and mighty, it is also tender, keeping fragments of every soul. This knowledge humbles him, softening his gaze. He no longer seeks only the strength of waves. He honors the stillness where echoes breathe eternal. Some say those who dream at sea may hear it. A faint call, a whisper that drifts through sleep. They awake with tears, though they know not why. Perhaps the chamber touched their soul for a moment. Perhaps the echoes gave them a memory to keep. In this sacred place, Poseidon leaves no command, only silence and the echo of gratitude in return. And as he departs, the chamber continues to breathe, holding all that was, all that is, and all to come. The Chamber of Echoes waits, timeless and unbroken, a sanctuary where the sea and memory are one. The journey through the forgotten depths now draws to a close. But the ocean does not end. It only shifts its song. Each realm we visited still breathes beneath the waves. The coral gardens bloom, glowing with fragile wonder. The Abyssal Gate guards the unknown with quiet strength. The veil of dreams drifts in colors of memory. The Chamber of Echoes holds voices beyond time. Together, they form the hidden heart of the sea. A heart not ruled by fear nor by conquest, but by balance, by memory, by the pulse of life. Poseidon knows this better than any who dwell above. His trident is not only a weapon, but a promise, a vow to protect what mortals may never see. Not for glory, but for the soul of the ocean. And yet, even a god finds himself humbled here. For the sea is larger than power, older than kings. It carries dreams, whispers, and stories in its tide. No crown could claim it. No hand could bind it. It remains free, flowing, eternal in its rhythm. The Mao, forgotten depths, are not meant to be conquered. They are meant to be listened to, honored, remembered. Each shimmer of light carries an echo of history. Each ripple holds the breath of a soul long gone. And in those echoes, the ocean keeps its truth. Mortals who sail its surface often feel only fear. The storm, the wave, the uncertainty of the deep. But beneath that surface, the sea offers something more. A quiet reminder of connection, of continuity, of hope. For even in its vastness, the ocean remembers all. Every prayer, every laugh, every tear cast into waves. Poseidon carries these offerings with care and reverence. He does not forget, because the sea cannot forget. And so, the story of the forgotten depths remains, not written in stone, but flowing in endless motion. A tale told in currents, in choral, in whale song. A story that reaches into dreams when silence falls. Perhaps you will hear it when night is still. Perhaps in sleep, the ocean will whisper to you. Not in thunder, but in a gentle, endless rhythm. A rhythm that says, you are part of this tide. You belong not apart, but within its eternal flow. And in that flow, no memory is truly lost. The sea holds it, soft and luminous, forever. Poseidon stands watch, not as ruler, but as guardian. The guardian of forgotten depths, of echoes, of dreams. He reminds us that the ocean is not only water, it is also memory, mystery, and infinite wonder. So when you next hear the crash of a wave, or feel the hush of the tide against the shore, remember this: the ocean is speaking to you. Not with words, but with stories older than time. And if you listen closely, you may hear Poseidon, not in anger, but in quiet, steadfast devotion, a devotion that keeps the depths alive forever. And so the story drifts onward, like the sea itself.